of erotic autonomy as the understanding that erotic energy is a source of personal vitality, and it's unique to each of us. And when we respect each other's autonomy, connection is a life-giving force. That's how I think about it. And yeah, so I do think that this, the spiritual journey that I was on with uncovering a deeper understanding of interconnection and of life itself and of our own life essence and how that's unique to each of us did really inform how I think of love and life and how it intersects now.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from all over the world to hear their personal journeys of self-discovery through the lenses of love, sex, and relationships.
Our mission is to show people that they're not alone and to inspire them to embrace their true selves so that together we can open minds and live authentically without shame.
We believe everyone's story is powerful and beautiful, yet it's important to remember that everyone does life a little bit differently and that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we aren't doctors. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 423. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have a wonderful conversation with Megan. She's been exploring various flavors and styles of non-monogamy, as you'll hear, most of her adult life. And one of the things we really love about her story is that she hasn't necessarily been on a linear path. She's learned so much along the way, and she's tried out different relationship styles, configurations, and dynamics.
Yeah, we have so many fantastic sort of conversations within this interview. Today we talk about hierarchy, relationship agreements, erotic autonomy, and generally just doing relationships in ways other than the ways we're told we should. You'll probably figure out pretty quick that Megan is quite passionate about everything we're talking about today. And so it should be no surprise that she's taken her passion and also turned it into her work as a coach. A little bit over a year ago, Megan launched her business, Non-Monogamy Coaching Vancouver, where she helps people create and sustain the consensually non-monogamous relationships they desire while also retaining their sense of erotic autonomy in order to live more meaningful lives. If it sounds like I pulled that last little bit off of like a website or something.
It's because you did.
It's because I did. That's straight from Megan's website. You can head over to her website, non-monogamycoachingvancouver.com, linked in the show notes to check out more about Megan and all of her work.
Normally, at this point, we jump right into the interview for all of our premium subscribers, but today we have a special announcement about some new content coming for our premium subscribers that we wanted to tell you all about. Currently, our premium subscribers get access to ad-free content, but we still share important dates of upcoming events, etc. in the outro so that you don't miss out completely. And we've been teasing for a few weeks that we have a new segment coming to our premium subscriptors in January.
Yeah, we teased this. We gave you a sneak peek about it back on episode 419 with Nicole. And today we've got another one. And actually the next few weeks, we've got additional sneak peeks of what this premium content is going to be.
You'll get sneak peeks the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
totally.
Yes.
So today, what you've got at the end of our normal conversation today, well, normal, I don't know how normal it is, but
it's our regular
the conversation that's normal for us with Megan.
What is normal?
What is normal,
That's
right?
the whole point of our podcast.
So you'll stick around after we finish sort of going through Megan's story, and then we pull some questions from different card decks. So we've got Where Shall We Begin, Get Squirmy, Chat Sparks, the Non-Monogamy card game. These are, we have a whole bunch of these card games. Actually, we've interviewed a lot of the creators of these games over the years, and they're really great for just starting conversations. And what we decided to do is we pull the questions and then we ask them to our guests in the sort of bonus content. Mm-hmm. And then we have a fun conversation about it. Maybe we even chime in as well, which we do today. We share a bit about ourselves too.
Yes. As you'll hear at the end of this episode, this was actually our first time doing this. So we talk about that too. Of course, Megan opted in and you'll hear the answers to her questions at the end of this episode.
Yeah. So I will just say too, as we figure out how to do this, you'll hear it. We didn't have a great plan of how to transition in. We're just winging it.
It's okay.
So for the next few weeks, you'll kind of hear something like this where we finish the interview and then we jump into this fun segment at the end. And then again, starting in January, these segments are going to just be part of our premium subscription. So if you're enjoying this and you want more of this, we'd love to have you head over to our website and scroll down on the homepage where you can sign up for our premium subscription for just $4 a month. And these episodes will be, or these sort of bonus episodes are 10 to 15 minutes long, will be published each week right after our regularly scheduled interviews. So yeah.
I was going to say, just to be clear, our regularly weekly interviews
Scheduled weekly interviews
are not changing.
Not changing at
We're
all.
just adding content.
Yep. So everything, if you don't want to be a premium subscriber and you love everything we've been doing, you don't have to change anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. We'll be here every week. If you want these bonus content, you can go ahead and sign up for the premium subscription. You'll skip the ads up front and you'll get some bonus stuff.
And with that, we're going to jump into the interview for our premium subscribers. And for the rest of you, we'll do a couple of announcements.
Just quick ones. We'll keep them real quick.
Yes.
So the first thing we want to tell you about is the next event we have coming up, the next in-person event. That's May 1st to the 3rd, 2026, just about 5 months away.
Yes, it's coming up.
Yeah, tickets are on sale now. We're calling it Relationship Recess. We're heading just outside of Orlando, Florida, with us and the crew from Multi-Amory and a friend of ours, Gary Ware, who is a strategic play consultant. And we have an incredible weekend full of games and adventure for you all to come and check it out. There's going to be about 100 of us there staying. Well, not all of us staying at the property, but the property we've rented is a 13-acre, basically a giant playground.
It's amazing.
It's going to be awesome. So you can check out all of the information, grab your tickets over on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Click on the events tab and you'll see a link there for Relationship
There's also
Recess.
a pop-up. You're gonna find it on our website.
You'll find it there. So head over to our website, grab yourself a ticket, and we'll see you in May.
Next up, we wanted to remind all of you that we lead a community full of over 300 people who socialize and support one another every single day. We host the community on a platform called Mighty Networks, and we have monthly community support Zoom calls, monthly virtual workshops, and in-person events for less than $8 a month. A heads up, mark your calendars for our next monthly workshop is going to be January 15th with Marsha Basinski on why you don't know what you want and how to find out.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible workshop. We've actually got Marsha coming up on the podcast
in
just a few weeks, so you'll be able to get a little flavor of Marsha and her vibe before the workshop. So yeah, check out the community. We'd love to have you join us. Again, you can head over to our website, click on the community tab, and join there for less than $8 a month.
And we also wanted to let you know about our favorite way to get tested for STIs. It's interesting that we've had a favorite way to get tested for STIs for so many years.
I think everybody should have a favorite way.
It is stdcheck.com. Using the links on the resources tab of our website saves you $10, making a 10-panel test only $129. And you support the podcast in the meantime and get to know your sexual health status. So thank you in advance for using those links. And just a reminder that, again, this is a service that Finn and I use. We've been using it for years. It is a great service, and we would not recommend it.
Yep, and otherwise, all the people who use it every month wouldn't be using it either. So thank you to everybody who's used it and supported the show and supported sort of knowing your sexual health status in the sex positive community.
Yes.
And the last thing we wanted to tell you all about is just that we'd love to hear from you. Please send us an email if you'd like to come on the podcast to share your story. You don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a content creator. You just have to be you. Your stories are what power this podcast. So thank you for reaching out and coming on. Or if you have any questions, feedback, comments, any of that, send us an email. We're here for it, and we'd love to hear from you.
And with that, let's go and talk with Megan. Welcome to the podcast, Megan. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for reaching out and coming on, and we're excited to dive in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to chat with you two, and I'm excited to see what comes out today, what we talk about.
Yeah.
Well, the hope is we're going to talk about you and your relationships.
Well, I mean, we all love that, right? To get to talk about ourselves. So thank you for having me on.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe we just start with who is Megan high level, and then we'll go from there.
Who am I high level? Okay. Well, my name is Megan Vaudry. I live on unceded Coast Salish territory in Vancouver, BC. I have been non-monogamous for most of my adult life, consensually non-monogamous for most of my adult life. And I founded Non-Monogamy Coaching Vancouver about a year ago. And I use that to educate people about erotic autonomy, to mentor and coach people in polyamory and other kinds of non-monogamy. And yeah, I just have a beautiful little life up here in Vancouver, BC. I teach workshops, both in Vancouver as well as online, and I travel to festivals to teach sometimes. And I work with people one-on-one. And yeah, I mean, that's sort of me in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And we're excited to dig into all your work, but particularly excited about the whole been polyamorous, not monogamous for longer than monogamous, and well, can relate ourselves. So maybe we start though with what is your relationship ecosystem, your way of relating? What does that look like today as of end of August 2025?
Yeah, a snapshot in time. Let's do it. So I am in a throuple. I live with my nesting partner, and then we have a girlfriend. And so my nesting partner and I have been together for just over 5 years. And yeah, our throuple formed organically when my partner Mo, my nesting partner, got together with someone named Jess, who is now our girlfriend, in January, and they started seeing each other on their own, and I was just super happy about it. And then over time, like as I got to know Jess, a connection naturally formed there. And yeah, and now this is where we're at, and I'm incredibly happy about it. It's so nurturing and lovely, and yeah, it just for me, like as a bisexual woman, this is just kind of making all of my dreams come true. And I'm honestly so, so, so happy. And it also gives me pause because, this isn't something I ever went to find. And there is this cultural image of polyamory being this monogamy plus one model and all of the couple privilege and hierarchy and everything that's all wrapped up in that. And I really am aware of the kind of pitfalls and dangers that can come with this. And so for me, the ongoing challenge is just to acknowledge and check and be aware of me and Mo's couple privilege. And yeah, just make sure that we are creating as egalitarian of a situation as possible for all of us. And of course, it works in our particular situation because our desires and values for what the relationship will look like are aligned. And so, yeah, we're able to create a situation that feels really, really equal. Yeah, and yeah, there is always this ongoing challenge of checking couples privilege. But yeah, since Mo and I founded our relationship on the principles of non-monogamy, we were both polyamorous when we met. And so we both had an understanding that we weren't about creating a lot of kind of rules and boundaries around preserving our relationship. Mo and I have never had the power to end each other's relationships. That's not something either of us ever wanted or that we ever gave each other. And so, yeah, that's really one of the keys in there to help us. To not hold an unfair privilege because we're in a couple. And of course, because we have life entwinement, there are certain things that we can't avoid, because we are spending a lot of time together, because we're entwined in various financial and familial and different ways. But yeah, it's an ongoing process. I mean, just being aware of ourselves and being aware of Jess and really checking in with her needs and her desires in an ongoing basis is, yeah, I mean, it's a joy. Like creating this relationship in an ongoing way with these two people is just, yeah, it's just such a joy. And I feel super, super lucky. How did I do? Did that give an accurate snapshot? Did that answer the question?
Very much so.
It's a perfect snapshot. It sounds like you said, like this is a journey. We're never really there. We're always going to be working, but it sounds like you've kind of hit a stride at this point, that you're kind of coming into your own a little bit as far as the way non-monogamy and polyamory are sort of in your life right now.
Yeah, exactly. And, because we're kind of fed this like default monogamous relationship style in life, I remember very vividly like figuring out that was what was expected of me. So I remember like back in when I was in high school, we were kind of going to each other like, oh, like, who do you have a crush on? Like, who do you have a crush on? And my answer was, well, I have a crush on Eric and I have a crush on Danny. And someone was like, oh, no, you can only have a crush on one person. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I started serial monogamy.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so I'll be having a crush on you this week, and you next week, and you the week after, and then back to this person 2 weeks later. Yeah.
And I will still say so much of the culture too. It's like is what we're seeing in what we see in movies and everything is monogamy, right? And serial monogamy in many ways. So there's that happening too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just always go to the example of The Notebook, like the movie The Notebook,
Yeah.
because like so much of that plot line is around like the choice, and so many love stories, it's like the choice between two people. And I like when I'm working with clients or doing workshops, I usually bring that movie up just because it's an example of like how indoctrinated we are to think about the one and only. And for sure, like for some people that is the experience, right? You fall in love and that's it. You don't have feelings for anyone else and you want to be in this monogamous life and you are internally monogamous. And, it took me a long time to figure out that that is actually true for some people. I assumed that everyone is like me, whereas they kind of like suppress their feelings for other people if they're in a non-monogamous setup. And it took me a really long time to realize, like, in my estimation and what I've seen is that, some people are naturally inclined to be monogamous and some people aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's something we try to really make clear when we talk to people is we're not saying, monogamy is bad. And if you are somebody who's like, I want to choose, I want to go down that path, well, great. But I think the idea that it's compulsory or that we don't have any other option is where we find a lot of our sticking point. And it sounds like you had a bit of that early on. And I'm curious, where did you start to diverge? Where did your path diverge from the serial monogamy, maybe the way you were seeing other people doing it?
Well, I guess you could say that on the inside, I was diverging from the monogamous model all along. Since I value relationships so highly, and since I am naturally a loyal person, me diverging from monogamy never appeared in relationships, like in the form of cheating. But on the inside, I was aware of the fact that I would have feelings for other people, and I always had a certain sense of discomfort with some of the monogamous, some of the requirements that some people put on monogamous relationships of not being friends with people of the same gender, of the gender that you're attracted to, things like that. But my first real divergence into a relationship that started to resemble non-monogamy was that in my early 20s, I was with a wonderful partner, a wonderful man, and we had sort of a soft, open, monogamish relationship going on. We talked about the fact that we wanted to be together for a long time and that over the lifetime of our relationship, we did want to explore being with other people, individually as well as together. And we were also really able to be honest with each other about our feelings for other people, which was a first for me. I really discovered during that relationship that sharing about my feelings for other people and my attractions to other people and hearing my partner share about theirs actually decreased jealousy and increased a sense of intimacy. And so that was really wonderful. We had a little bit of openness to our relationship. We had a threesome. If we kissed other people, that and told each other about it, that was within the bounds of what we considered appropriate in our relationship. And just having this open communication about that felt so great. So that's really the first time that I was in a relationship where I was able to hold this understanding with a partner that being attracted to other people and communicating about it is appropriate and normal and actually makes your relationship really, really wonderful. Yeah, and then after that relationship ended, I I was in a period of my life where I was kind of questioning a lot of things and just kind of opening at a lot of different levels. Like I was really developing in my spirituality at that point, and I had moved away from my hometown, and I was going to art college, and like there was just kind of a lot of things in my life. Like I was developing in a lot of ways, and at that time, I honestly don't remember who it was, but someone handed me a copy of The Ethical Slut and said, "I think you should read this." Yeah. And so this was in, I guess this was 2009, 2011, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I started to read the book. And then around, like, in like the same week or the same month, I met someone And he said, like, he was like, "Oh, yeah, we're like flirting." And he's like, "So you're poly, right?"
You're like, how did you know I was reading this book?
I'm like, "How did you know?" Exactly. So, yeah, and then I started my first polyamorous relationship, which was honestly, it was such an amazing learning experience. Like, that relationship had a lot of issues and it ended a few years later for reasons that had nothing to do with polyamory. And that was my first real kind of shot at, dating non-monogamously, having other lovers while I was with my partner, really kind of having these conversations about what our relationship structure was and what was important to us, and also how we wanted to be open to others. And so that, I think, was my real kind of like get your feet on the ground, like start to really have this non-monogamous relationship. Yeah. And then after that relationship kind of like concluded naturally, a lot of things were happening in life. I was moving and it was just, yeah, that relationship didn't withstand the test of time. And yeah, after that, I followed with kind of like a pretty long period of more of a like solo polyamorous kind of like orientation, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and before we dig into that sort of phase, I'd love to go back to this first one where you are sort of diving into, we'll say, polyamory proper. I know these phrasings are going to annoy a lot of the people out there, but that's okay, because it sounds like your first one was you and this partner had like this monogamish kind of. It didn't sound like you didn't talk about it, but it wasn't like the foundation of your relationship.
Mhm.
The sort of coming out of high school and early college was that, did I kind of get that right? Like some
Yeah.
threesomes, but more like casually playing around with the idea.
Yeah, yeah. So in that first relationship that I described, there was the idea of an open relationship rather than
Hmm.
the actual practice of it.
Yep.
And then this following one that I described was like, I would say that was my first experience with partnered polyamory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, when you're reading The Ethical Slut, you talk to this person, they're like, "Hey, so you're poly," and you jump in, but I'm curious, like there's still a lot of shifting that has to happen, or I'm guessing there's a lot of shifting that has to happen in terms of how you're approaching relationships. And I'm curious what that looked like for you and how that sort of went when you first started dating and relating in this way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what a good question. I mean, it is a big shift, right? To go from a monogamous mindset to a non-monogamous mindset. I think that I was lucky because in this context, in this relationship, I didn't experience a lot of jealousy. So it being open, like for him, to see other people, like that wasn't hard for me. Of course, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm never jealous. That will come.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. But in this particular configuration, like I didn't experience a lot of challenge with him seeing other people. It just felt really normal and natural to me, and really honestly an extension of my love and care for him. And I think I was also just really grateful to be in the situation where I got to have, I was naturally compersive in this relationship. I got to have these experiences of compersion, of being of being joyful when he was, when he was experiencing joy. But then I think for me, like the big learning curve with this one was learning that not everyone is as non-monogamous as I am. So that was hard. Yeah, that was hard. If I knew what I know now then. But yeah, it's like thinking back on that, I'm not like everyone who was in that like I had another like pretty serious ongoing lover, and then he had kind of like a bit of an on again off again thing, that had been more serious and then de-escalated with someone I knew, someone that I was friends with. And honestly, like it was a very hard situation because I guess I just kind of expected her to feel like I felt, like kind of like, yeah, like open and happy, and she didn't. Like she really struggled with that. She really struggled when I got together with her lover, and yeah, that was really hard. That was really hard for everyone.
Yeah, that idea that, well, this is easy for me. Why are you struggling? Right, when we're
Yeah.
yeah. Why isn't everybody the same as me? That would make life
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not that I've
Yeah.
ever had that problem, but I can imagine.
Yeah, well, I think in the new edition of More Than Two, it's put really well. other people are real. And what that means to me is, other people are whole ass people. They have their own set of feelings and needs, and like assuming that everyone is not the same as us is a much better assumption than assuming everyone is the same as us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's human.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we're really good as humans at like not really knowing what we are and are not going to be okay with until it actually happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't we wish? We wish that we did, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we could only have like a simulation, like an emotional, like a simulation where I get to feel the feelings and find out what actually happens. But it's not the case. We kind of just have to live and learn.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like you were living and learning in that too, like figuring that out and realizing, oh, this is easier for me than my partner. And like, what do we do then?
Yeah, and this was back in, 2010, right? So there's a lot more resources and information out there now than there was, right? Like, your podcast, a whole like network of podcasts that are like really amazing and supportive, tons of books, lots of people who are working, giving workshops and support. There was very little of that going on. There was some of that going on back then, but much less widespread awareness, I would say.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so you come out of this this launch pad into polyamory, and you said sort of next steps are a bit of a solo poly journey. And I'm curious, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think my personal orientation kind of like on the scale from monogamous to solo polyamorous is definitely not hard up against being solo poly. Like I do really like being partnered, and I have throughout my life, but being independent, being single and being polyamorous was like a really really lovely chapter in my life. I got to have lovers and like be really honest with them when they were overlapping. I wasn't limited by geography. I was doing some traveling during that time. And I really am grateful for that time in my life, to be honest. At that time in my life, that's actually when I started to educate to do what I do now with being with being a relationship coach. So that's when I kind of started that journey. It was a really long time ago. Life unfolds in mysterious ways. But that was when that journey kind of started for me, because I knew right away once I got into polyamory that I was so passionate about this, and that relating in a non-monogamous way and showing other people how to do that was going to be a deep and lifelong passion of mine. So that's kind of when I got bitten by the bug, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so that chapter of my life was kind of about a lot of adventure, moving around. I lived in Mexico for a year and lived at a spiritually oriented yoga retreat center. And so that's when I kind of got introduced to these concepts of non-duality, of oneness consciousness. And I mean, my spiritual practice has like really evolved since then. I now identify as a witch and practice Wicca. But that was a very transformative part of my life. And I do think that it really did inform the way that I think about erotic energy and the way that I think about love and erotic autonomy. And so, I'm grateful for that period of my life. And I'm also really grateful that I had the ability to designer relationships is the phrase that's kind of popping up for me right now, is like I was able to kind of craft my love life around my life. Whereas before in my life, I had often felt really limited by, if I'm in a monogamous relationship, it's like, okay, well, I have to like stay with my partner or whatever. But now with being non-monogamous, I was able to center myself in my life in a different way than I was before. And it was very, honestly, like very healing and transformational for me. And so, yeah.
And you were in that phase for a few years and like really sounds like really dove in to understanding more about non-monogamy, spirituality, but also about yourself and centering yourself in your life rather than around a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also curious in there, you mentioned erotic autonomy and also that being sort of one of the pillars of your work as it stands today. And it sounds like this was maybe, I don't know, the birthplace of that for you when you started to sort of learn about this, or this came into focus for you. And I'm curious, maybe just to talk a little bit about that part, that like this part of you, or the erotic autonomy part that sort of came to light when you were living in Mexico and during this solo poly phase, and like what that looked like then maybe versus where it is today. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So, I think of erotic autonomy as the understanding that erotic energy is a source of personal vitality and it's unique to each of us. And when we respect each other's autonomy, connection is a life giving force. That's how I think about it. And yeah, so I do think that this, the spiritual journey that I was on with uncovering a deeper understanding of interconnection and of life itself and of our own life essence and how that's unique to each of us did really inform how I think of love and life and how it intersects now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I think it's evolved. When I moved to Vancouver about 10 years ago, I became aware of social justice and systemic oppression in a way that I wasn't aware of at that time. I grew up in a small town. It was a bit conservative. I kind of didn't have the opportunity to look with a more critical gaze on some of the systems of oppression in our society. And so when I moved to Vancouver, I decided to trace my own cultural lineage, my own cultural heritage. And since I'm white, I'm obviously of European descent. It's really reasonable to assume that my ancestors practiced an earth-based, goddess-based polytheistic religion or belief system of some kind, which is encapsulated in paganism, neo-paganism, Wicca. I can kind of use those terms interchangeably in my life, even though there are some nuances and some differences. Yeah, and so like my personal spirituality has really evolved, but I think of it as kind of a different lens to look through at the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like that was really the beginning of discovering this for yourself.
Yeah, I think my time at the yoga center was very, very transformative.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't sit in like a bazillion like silent meditation retreats and not like come out a different person.
Yeah, right. They can't not have an impact of some sort.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for identifying that. I don't think I was thinking of that consciously, but yeah, I do resonate with that. That was kind of the start of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd love to come back to that in a little bit too, of like how that's impacted in your work today. But
Yeah.
I'd love to let's continue on the kind of chronological story for the moment.
Sure. So I had another foray into monogamy. Um,
As
which
sometimes
Just
happens.
and
you gotta
we,
test it out one more time. See
Yeah.
see if it maybe this time.
yeah, and like we do crazy things for love, right?
I'm
But
excited for this story then. I love that framing.
yeah, so yeah, it's pretty romantic actually. I went to Mexico to like kind of suss out this yoga center, and then I decided to come back to Canada so I could organize my life to stay for much longer. And when I came back, I met someone. Um, and so, it all kind of, he came to visit me in Mexico and then we moved to Vancouver together. And like at some point along there, we decided to try monogamy. I really, I think I even suggested it. I think what I was really like looking for at the time was like stability. And because, I think I was coming off this period of, like not developing kind of like these kind of deeper, more secure, more entwined connections with anyone. I think because I was still, I still had internalized mononormativity like we all do, right? And so I think I was like kind of reaching to monogamy like for stability and to kind of as a container to bring us closer. And so we started on monogamy and our relationship was really lovely. Like we had just kind of a wonderful life together. We set up a life together in Vancouver, which is where I'm still living now. And yeah, but then for me, monogamy is really hard. And I think like the biggest reason that it's hard for me is because it's not value aligned. And so for me, like where I'm at now with what my why is behind non-monogamy and behind polyamory is that I want to let each relationship take the shape that it wants to take in my life. So, you're nodding and we this is, I think it's the why for a lot of us, right? And we want to allow each relationship to, to really take its like optimal place in my life and grow into whatever it's going to be the happiest as, whatever that relationship is going to be the best as. And not being able to do that and needing to kind of like cut any new relationships or interest off just because of a monogamous agreement was, it was really hard for me. And so that relationship didn't last, unfortunately.
Well, and it sometimes just like pops to my mind that you don't even necessarily have to like cut them off. It was, at least for me, it was often this feeling of, it's like you can only go to like a certain point and then it starts to feel inauthentic. Like you can maybe feel it. You can even tell the other person maybe feels something and nobody can talk about it. It's just got to be like this big old mystery box. And you're like, well, we're just not supposed to. And it like, I don't know, that's been my experience in that, is like, I don't necessarily have to be like, you're out of my life. It's just, we can't really be in friendship even in the way that feels natural to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, even knowing that conceptually makes it challenging to relate to the partner that I'm monogamous with.
Yep.
Because in my opinion, like it's a pretty big value misalignment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Monogamy versus non-monogamy. So I think it put a lot of pressure on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It brings to mind an interview we did a couple weeks ago where the person was talking about, they're like, the only type of monogamy I'll consider at this point is sexual monogamy, because just like their values are like their friends they're very cuddly with, and they just are a very affectionate person, and not being able to have that as part of their monogamy was sort of that they just can't, they're like okay with monogamy as long as it looks this way. And so
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because what I think about when you say that is how affection and touch starved our culture is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's an epidemic of loneliness.
Totally.
We're taught that that success comes from isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe at all.
Right.
Well, and that those other things, that cuddling or touch, they must mean more. They have to mean love or cheating, or they cannot coexist even with monogamy.
Yeah. And I think like part of that is because our culture has this like very divided idea of what sexuality is. Either it's like this kind of shameful thing that we don't talk about and has to be a complete secret, or it's this like very sensationalized thing that like looks a certain way and means a certain thing. Right. And like and so it's tied into monogamy, is tied into like our sense of belonging and our sense of personal security. Right.
Yeah.
And so having this like really black and white view, or this really like divided view of what sex is, I think is really hard on our culture. And so, like you were saying, it makes it so that if we're cuddling or like if we're having like emotional closeness to someone, it must mean sex. Right. Because like we don't really do that unless we're going to be, fucking people. And so like, oh my gosh, but fucking is scary and dirty. So
Right, exactly. Yeah. We're right. If we could get rid of that second part, if fucking wasn't scary and dirty, then it wouldn't be a big deal, right? If cuddling did lead to sex, right? Like why does any of this have to be bad and dirty? Like
like if sex was just like a part of life, and if it was just something that we could experiment with and do and feel safe around and be and like actually have some tools and skills around, like if we're talking about it more, then we're more prepared for what sex is actually going to happen. For what sex is going to be when it actually happens, right? So I know it makes me really sad when I think about this, because I mean, I want everyone, like ultimately I want everyone to be happy. That's what I really want in the world. And seeing people so lonely makes me so sad. And especially working in the way that I do and working in the field that I do, I see people's loneliness really acutely. People come to me with their loneliness and with their challenges and with their relational challenges. And, there's we have such a sense of separation sometimes and such a sense of loneliness. And it makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and I really love what you said. That just, monogamy for you, at least in this partnership and the way that was happening, it was a value thing. It was just not aligned with you and your values and the way you want to relate. And it's nothing wrong with monogamy. It just was not your cup of tea.
Yeah. So how did that go in that relationship?
Well, I want to bring up, I'm not here to judge anyone's relationship style, and that partner, we're still acquaintances. We're still like close acquaintances. And like, he's gone on to get married and, he's like very happy with his partner in his monogamous relationship. And I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
So, we all have our things. And here I've gone to find my partner that I'm polyamorous with, and I'm super happy too, so.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, different things for different people. But I totally lost track of what the question is.
No.
I was curious of like, how did that go in navigating that like difference when, it's not easy.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on in my life at the time. And yeah, like moving to a big city for the first time, being in this relationship that was really wonderful, but like that relationship was kind of very spicy in all the ways. Like we had a lot of passion. We had a lot of passion for each other in, chemistry and conflict. And yeah, that relationship, I think we both learned a lot, and then it kind of ran its course. Yeah, we separated and I continued on my life in Vancouver.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear too that you're still friends, acquaintances at least, and that it doesn't have to be, well, we have different systems of doing this, so like now we must be enemies. Like, no, things can just end peacefully. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it took time. We needed space.
Totally.
And we did kind of de-escalate slowly.
Mhm.
Like we separated our living situations while we were still while we were still romantic, while we were still close and seeing each other. So we did kind of de-escalate in stages,
Mhm.
which I think was really helpful for both of us, especially for me, honestly, because I was living in a new city. And yeah, and the thing that a lot of people will say about Vancouver is it takes like 10 years to make friends. Um, Vancouver, it can take a long time to feel at home in Vancouver. And so I think, yeah, I'm really grateful that we were able to de-escalate slowly, because I think that really helped me kind of get stable in my own life as I was moving forward. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that as well, because I think, right, that's another one of those societal things that we often get fed is, okay, if this isn't going to work,
Yeah, choosing to do it differently.
you burn it down, you
Mhm.
burn it down fast, and then you become enemies because, well, there's no value here anymore. But I love that it's
Yeah.
like, no, we're going to do it different. We're going to go slow, and not to say it would be perfect or that there weren't things that you would have done different, but it sounds like it, it worked for you.
Yeah, and like he's a really emotionally intelligent guy too, and I think so even though we were not value aligned in terms of non-monogamy,
Sure.
I think we were still able to kind of really work as a team in like what I like to think anyway was a pretty like emotionally intelligent way, and we were able to, be kind to each other as we were separating. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Finn, that this idea that if it's not working, it's like what I really hate to see is like, oh, it's not working, so it's the other person's fault, and I have to like blame them and make them into the bad guy immediately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And turn all your friends, it's like, it's basically split the camp, right? Like you got to choose a
Yeah.
side. It just, it's so broken.
Oh. Yeah, and I get it, like no one kind of wakes up in the morning being like, oh, I'm going to ruin my ex's life. But, we are all acting from our own trauma and our own challenges. And yeah, and breaking up is hard.
Mm-hmm.
None of us want to do it ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No.
Not easy.
So you come out of this, sounds like this was the time where you're like, okay, tried monogamy again. Probably not for me, for sure at this point. So where does this take you in your journey next?
Yeah, this takes me. I again had one of those kind of like single, well, poly kind of adventure periods. Yeah, like I was in a triad for 5 minutes, which didn't go well. If I knew what I know now then. Yeah, and then yeah, I had some lovers. I had another polyamorous lover, which was lovely and amazing. I had a few polyamorous lovers. One that I can think of that I was very value aligned with in the way that we understood polyamory. Which I always look back on, and we're actually still very close. Like me and this person are still very good friends. So that's really lovely. And I actually have a few friends that I started off with as lovers in this period of time that have become that have been close in various ways, like over the past 5 years.
Mhm.
I guess that was about 7 years ago. So I think that was a couple years where I was doing this. Yeah, and then COVID happened. Yeah, so that's always kind of a bit of a blip in the story.
Yes.
The
Yes.
black
Yeah,
hole, the
the
black hole
black
that was
hole.
COVID.
Yeah. During COVID, I was living with a couple babes, a couple other femmes, and it was lovely. We actually did a pretty good job at surviving COVID. I think I just remember cooking really good food and watching TV shows together, and yeah, it was. But I was working in the performing arts at the time, and so overnight, all my work was just gone. So it was really surreal. That was a very surreal experience for me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember, and I live in Vancouver. So, for those of you who are aren't familiar with Vancouver, we had a very strict kind of lockdown policy, and so I remember riding my bicycle down the middle of a major street at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, and there was just no traffic. It was the most surreal experience. So yeah, everything about it was surreal, and I guess I can segue into saying that meeting my partner that I'm with now is also pretty surreal. So it was in COVID and I didn't really have anything serious going on in my dating life, nothing that was going to survive COVID anyway. And so I was on the apps. I was using OkCupid to try to meet other polyamorous people because I promised myself I would never try monogamy again. And and so I was looking through profiles and I got an intro message from this person and I was like, oh wow, he's actually really cute. And so, I noticed that he was also poly and I was like, okay, let's just get off the app right away. So kind of during a kind of break in this lockdown we had, the lockdown kind of went in stages and cycles. And so during a break in the lockdown, we went out and had a drink. And yeah, I was just really surprised pleasantly surprised at how lovely this human was and how open and attracted I was to him. And yeah, so we started seeing each other. After our first date, we were no longer allowed to socialize indoors. And so luckily it was a sunny November. And so we ended up just doing walks around the park and getting to know each other. And yeah, he was in a nested partnership at the time with someone else. And yeah, so I got introduced to her and her partner, and we kind of had to make a decision where because there was this bubble system where you were only allowed to be in close contact with a certain amount of people. And so we kind of in some ways COVID was a bit of an escalator to the relationship because we had to make a decision about who we were gonna
Are we
bubble
bubbling or
up
not?
with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean I think I was just overall very touched by just his kindness and emotional intelligence. And yeah, it was lovely. His partner was so kind and welcoming, and her partner was super fun, and we got along really well. And yeah, so that was what started me and Mo's relational journey.
So did the four of you bubble up? Is that sort of the where that went?
Yeah, I think we probably didn't totally 100% follow the rules, but we ended up bubbling. Yeah, we did end up bubbling up. And yeah, I mean, we were in different households, but we still ended up deciding that we would see each other.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so we did. We ended up playing lots of board games and, hanging out inside a lot. So, yeah. And that was, yeah, I mean, I guess that was that was the first several months of me and Mo's relationship.
Yeah.
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 Amazing. I had this moment as you were talking and saying some of these things, and I'm like, man, if in 20 years this podcast is still out there on the internet, people are going to be listening, being like, "What the fuck were they?" Well, you had to be there, all right. If you weren't there, you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm in my late 30s, so it doesn't really feel like that long ago for me. But I think depending on where you're at in life, it can feel like a really long time ago. But yeah. For me, it feels like not that long ago, but
No, agreed.
even though I mean it is, time flies. But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I know all the things like bubbling and whatever, and yeah.
Yeah.
lockdowns.
We
Yeah.
just had to go for walks, and we had to
Yeah.
stand 6 feet apart during our walks because
Yeah.
we all thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, we were considering taking the government recommended policy of glory holes. Like we were thinking about doing. Like legit, it said on the government website, like consider using a glory hole.
Yep. That's the new second base is
Yeah.
glory
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it just went really well. We were just like, honestly, we were just like pretty crazy about each other pretty quickly. So, when that's happening, when that like NRE like bubble is there, it's just like everything is just bathed in this rosy, sparkly glow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, lucky us to get to find each other during that time. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so coming out of the pandemic, you are partnered with Mo. Mo's got another partner. His partner's got, so you're kind of in a polycule at this point, or some form of one.
we were in a polycule. And so, me and Mo, I think, figured out pretty quickly that we wanted to escalate our relationship. We were pretty keen on including nesting as an aspect of that. And it was a tough decision to make. There was like definitely some really tough moments in making that change. Yeah, but like to make a long story short, Mo ended up moving in with me, and and now we're nested and open, and living the life.
Have been navigating that for the last few years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, have been navigating that. Yeah.
And so are you and Mo, well, you said together you're dating somebody, but have you also been exploring on your own? Like, do you each date individually as well?
Yeah, we do. So me and Mo, I think, have like a pretty unique set of relationship agreements as a couple that passes as quote unquote primary partners. Mo and I have never called each other primary partners. We don't consider each other primary partners. We of course have like hierarchy. I know that hierarchy can be a controversial topic in the polyamory community.
I haven't heard that before.
It's fine. And so the way that I orient in my relational orientation is I'm always thinking about couples privilege, and I'm always doing my best to understand what the other person's perspective is if I'm dating anyone new. So I consider it my responsibility to like be very clear about what me and Mo's relationship agreements are. And me and Mo's relationship agreement is basically like we don't have the power to end each other's relationships. That's not something that either of us have ever offered to the other person, and it's not something that either of us want to take. Because like the foundation of how I think about non-monogamy is erotic autonomy. And so if I tried to end, or even tried to interfere consciously or subconsciously with another relationship that he's having, I'm really undermining his erotic autonomy. And so that's actually going to reduce our connection instead of enhance it, right? So I think like a lot of people kind of take the opposite approach, which is totally understandable. I mean, this is definitely kind of normalized right now. And I'm not trying to say relationship agreements aren't important. I want to just interrupt myself right there. Relationship agreements are very important. Arguably, a relationship agreement, a set of agreements is what a relationship is, whether those agreements are implicit or explicit. But me and Mo's main relationship agreement is if we want to entwine and escalate with another person, we would want that to be in some kind of like kitchen table polyamory situation. Not that there would be like an expectation of like close friendship or intimacy with any other person, because obviously any new person is totally an erotically autonomous person in their own right. But the invitation is that, we can date people as much as we want. We can get as close to people as we want. But then when it gets to the point where we would be spending like multiple nights a week with them, starting to spend, a significant portion of our time together, there would be some overlap where we could all be together. Yeah. So that's how we try to get around. And I know like couples privilege is inherent in that because we're already a couple. And so, when we come to a new relationship, we're already with each other. And so even just the time that we've been together shows a hierarchy.
Yeah.
But that's how we try to be as informative as possible with any new partners about the hierarchy that naturally exists
Right.
is by being really honest that is like what we're trying to craft and what we're kind of going for in life, because we have, we live together, we want to build a life, we're financially entangled, we're building a life together in a very physical, practical way.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to continue doing so.
Yeah.
And we think that the way to do that is by offering each other as much freedom as possible and inviting other people in, like, as much as works for all of us.
Yeah.
And being really clear that, like, our only real desire and expectation and boundary is we want to preserve what we've already built and then hopefully build onto that with more people. Like, that's kind of the ideal.
Yeah.
But, that's really challenging and that takes time. And so holding that space where we can do that is like kind of a constant ongoing consideration of ours.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that framing, and it makes me think. A conversation that Emma and I have had recently, and I've just had it with a few people recently, is this idea that, at least where I'm at in my life right now, and I think there's definitely some element of this that's because we are partnered in a similar situation. Like, we run a business together, we live together, we're financially entangled, we're married, all of these things, and I don't really want to change any of those, and I don't think Emma does either. But even if I wasn't, right, there's like, I am a person. And when I meet somebody new and let's say I start to like them, I have a crush on them. I don't want that person to change so much, because now we're like, our connection that person has to change their life to the point where they're no longer that person. Like, what I liked you for you, and now you're a completely different person because of our connection. Then that feels to me, and that breaks my brain. I'm like, well, no, I don't want our connection to fundamentally change your life to the point where you're no longer you. And whether that's because you're partnered or you're solo, and just because we hear that often, people are like, oh, especially I would say historically, people are like, oh, well, yeah, I met this new person and I'm all in, and now I like to do this activity. I haven't done my favorite hobby in months. And I'm like, what do you like? You're no longer the person that I mean, you are still that person, but I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, we change ourselves so much for a relationship that we stop being the person we were when we came to that relationship.
Yeah, especially, I totally agree. Like, especially in, like, when we're in NRE, that desire for like that, like, accidental, like, slippery slope towards like self erasure is so seductive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of being in relationship is learning how to retain that self.
Right.
Right. That sense of self, that like self relationship, that connection to yourself.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's ongoing, and I think it challenges all of us, And like, I love what you said. And I feel exactly the same way about, when you meet someone new, you don't want them to change too much because you like who they are. And I think, holding this in such a delicate balance with also knowing that, like, people will inevitably, like, lives inevitably shift over time.
Yep.
Like, when you're talking about a span of like 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years, like, these time frames that relationships are, like, quote unquote supposed to last, like, inevitably we're going to shift and change as people over that time.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I've heard it said that, like, you can't have a relationship that lasts 20 or 30 years. You can have different relationships over that time, but they can all be with the same person.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so I think that concept feeds really well into non-monogamy, because we can think of these different chapters, like me and Mo, like, hopefully we will be together. I want to be with him for a very long time, and I want to build a life with him for, like, the foreseeable future. Right. And I assume that we're going to have different chapters and different iterations in our relationship as we go through, and we already have.
Yep.
Yeah. And so understanding that shift and change is normal. Yeah. And then realizing that, like, other people coming into our life, like, can be part of that change and part of those chapters.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the inverse is true. And, sometimes relationships don't last forever. Right. And then, this chapter turns over, and then our relational life is in this new iteration.
For sure.
Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally, I wasn't, for me, there's never a moment of feeling like, oh, well, I'm going to be like this forever, that nothing will ever change. But I see it as when we get to the point where we're like, yeah, I haven't done this thing that I used to love doing in months. And I don't even think this is just specific to couples privilege, right? Because we could come to a relationship as a solo person and say, hey, here's how much I have to give. This is how much I'm willing to give. And it might be less. I mean, it could be less than somebody who's in a coupled partnership is willing to give. We're quantifying things that are really not quantifiable.
Yeah.
But say like,
Yeah.
I can see you once a month for an evening versus maybe a partner that you have that's married and nesting is like, I can see you every other week. Like you don't know. It's just really about the person. I don't know. I'm off on a tangent here.
No,
so.
I mean, I think I hear what you're saying. I think what you're saying is like how available we are and what we're available for in relationships isn't necessarily contingent on what our relationship styles already are. It can be a lot of different factors in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. And I'm always kind of wondering about the intersection between like how much I'm available for and how much that shifts based on what my opportunities are.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm thinking about when I first got with Mo, I was actually very happy not having a partner. Like I was very much in this state where I was like, yeah, I like have my own like kind of aspirations and goals. They don't include a partner right now. I'm looking for someone that I can kind of see really casually. And so the fact that he had a nesting partner already was actually really a benefit for me. I saw that as like a win because he's not going to want more than I can offer, right?
Yep.
But then it literally came out of nowhere for me that I wanted to escalate my relationship with him. Like I really wasn't prepared for that.
Sometimes it comes and smacks you in the face.
Yeah. Like I remember very clearly and the first time we went on a long hike, it was winter and we went on like a long kind of snowshoe, like snowy hike into this beautiful like alpine lake in the Vancouver area. And I remember very distinctly like coming home and being like, holy shit, like I am falling in love with this person. Like what? Like, this wasn't really part of the plan, So, yeah. But thank God. Yeah, thank God I did because I'm just really, I'm so happy. And just like the love we have is really, really special. So really grateful for how things did go. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I appreciate all of our conversations today. I think it's always lovely to hear. Just, I don't know. We do this because we love hearing people's relational journeys, and yours has been a delight. The in and out of monogamy and just figuring out life and relationships. It's just a never-ending puzzle as far as I've been able to figure out. So.
And I'd love for you to chat a little bit more about erotic autonomy today, and also what your work looks like.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I founded Non-Monogamy Coaching Vancouver just like fairly recently, like over about a year ago. And, I've really seen a need in my local community for support around non-monogamy because like in the kind of like friend circle and extended network that I'm part of. And now I'm seeing just in like it's everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot out there about non-monogamy, but it takes a lot to rewrite these internalized relationship scripts that we all grew up with, right? And so I kind of saw a bit of a gap. There's like kind of, a few other people that are doing like kind of similar support work in my area, but from a bit of a different lens. And so I did really just kind of want to get out there and start offering resources to people for helping them on their journey. Yeah, like it's a huge passion of mine. I've always been really passionate about hearing people about romantic relationships in general and like hearing people's stories and being able to offer support to people in whatever way I can. So, so I offer workshops. I'm working on a group program and then I offer one-on-one support as well. And I work mostly online. And it's all centered around this idea of erotic autonomy and celebrating our own and others' erotic autonomy so we can all kind of live our best, most erotically fulfilled, juiciest, loving lives.
Yeah, that's amazing. And links to everything you just said will be in the show notes for anyone listening to find you too.
Yeah, thank you. You can, the best way is to sign up for my newsletter. And you can follow me on Instagram too if that's your jam.
Perfect. Yeah, links will be in the show notes and definitely check it out. Yeah, so before we let you go, we wanted to try something new. We've already got your permission at the beginning to beta test this. So listeners, we're not springing this on Megan here blindly, but we're gonna try something new that we're gonna introduce to the podcast, and it's gonna evolve over the next month or so. But we're starting here today. So thank you, Megan, for being a part of it. We're going to pull some question cards. We've got various decks. We've had lots of different guests come on the podcast over the time of our show that have created conversation decks. We also have like Esther Perel's deck. She hasn't come on the podcast yet. I don't know why, but
future goals.
Future goals. So
Is
we're
she
gonna.
really polyamorous though?
I have no idea, but
I don't know.
we'd still welcome
I
her.
don't think so.
I mean, yeah, she's
Sarah,
amazing.
if you're listening,
you're still
email us.
welcome.
Yeah, also huge fan.
Yeah,
Right.
our people will talk to your people, and our people are me.
Yeah, right.
So we're gonna pull a question or two, and sort of lightning round. You're gonna answer it, and then we're gonna see what happens and have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Great.
And the cards I'm going to pull today are from the Non-Monogamy card deck.
Great.
So
yes. So if you're curious more about this, we'll put links in the show notes to where you can find it and episodes of the creators of the game who came on our podcast. So
yeah.
All right. You ready for your first question, Megan?
Yes, fire away.
Ooh. All right. How was love expressed in your home growing up?
Oh, what a perfect question.
That could also be, I was like, that could be a really triggering question.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm privileged enough to be totally fine with that question.
Okay.
Yeah, how was love expressed in my family of origin? Monogamously. If I could like sum it up in a word, monogamously. I definitely grew up with the idea that like fortunately, like my parents are like still very much in love, like to this day, which is, I think a bit rare. And yeah, like they were very loving to each other, and very much like, you will one day find a husband that will love you and you will love him back, and that will be it.
Forever and ever.
Yeah.
So that's the part. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Ooh, I love this one.
What makes you great partner material?
Oh, I have like a sarcastic answer and a genuine answer.
Perfect.
You're allowed to do both. We're polyanswerous here. You can use either one.
Yeah, I mean, the sarcastic answer is because, I teach polyamory. And then the genuine question is like, I'm a huge fan of personal growth, honestly. Like, I'm very introspective, and I'm always like looking at how I can love my partners better and and just be a better partner and improve myself. Like that's a really high priority for me. And yeah, I'm also like a very loving person. Like I'm very affectionate. Words of affirmation are like really big for me. I'm also like a big cuddler, and I'm a pretty mean cook, if I don't say so myself.
Ooh, follow-up question from one cook to another. Now we're off on a tangent. What's if you're inviting somebody over to impress them on a first date by cooking them dinner, what are you cooking?
Well, that's not the question I thought you were going to ask.
I'm curious now, Emma.
Yeah, I'll do the next one.
I think, okay, so if I was able to plan in advance, I would probably do like either like salmon or maybe like a nice like grass-fed free-range steak, and like a nice, a tasty starch and like a nice fresh veg, like do that kind of thing. Or if it was like a little bit more last minute, I'm kind of famous for my like pasta. So like a good like throw together pasta from what I have in the cupboard is like always a good go-to. Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah. How about you? How about you, Finn?
Yeah.
It's actually funny. You said, like what you just described was pretty much like Emma went on a date last night and I cooked myself a grass-fed steak and vegetables and sweet potatoes. So yeah, that's I have a new favorite though. I've been experimenting with smash burgers, and I know this is not like a sexy food.
Oh,
but the idea, the branding I've come up with is smash and smash. So
smash and smash. I like this. Yeah, I see where you're going
here. Make a smash burger and then you go have a good time.
Okay, but I mean, yeah, okay, like a burger can like sit really heavy in your
I agree.
belly and you might not be into intimacy after, but like, smash burgers they're kind of messy, like, you got to kind of like get all up in there, like,
Yeah.
I can see the parallels here.
Yeah,
And also, like I have to plug Dan Savage here because he says fuck first.
Right.
So,
Totally.
right?
Smash
Like it can
and
be
then
smash and
smash
smash.
burger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, we
I
might be
never-
onto something here.
Yeah, that's true. I was saying it is smash and smash, but it could be smash and smash. You could do it either way. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you had it backwards there.
I totally had it backwards, but I love it. I thank you for the correction. So what did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to ask her about which way she would cut grilled cheese.
Oh, that's a good. Okay.
That's so.
Oh.
This is a historical
question. A
question.
staple question over the years in the podcast land is when people come on and they are nervous at the beginning, we start the episode by asking them, which way do you cut a grilled cheese sandwich? And we've also had to explain what a grilled cheese sandwich is to some people because it's not all in all cultures. So yeah, grilled cheese. What's your way that you cut the sandwich?
Okay, well, first of all, I was very nervous at the beginning of the podcast, so I wish I had gotten to talk about grilled cheese, my favorite. Yeah, so, okay, grilled cheese. Okay, so there's 2 camps with grilled cheese, not even before you even get to cutting it, and that is shredding the cheese versus slicing the cheese.
Interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. So are you a shredder or slicer?
No, you got it right. I'm a slutter.
You're a shredder.
So I'm a shredder because you can like sprinkle a little bit of shredded cheese on the outside of the sandwich to get that like crispy cheese.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
So I'm a shredder, and then I'm a diagonal cutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're allowed to stay on the podcast. That's how we determine.
Yes.
Diagonal cutters are where it's at. That's our preference here, but we don't judge.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes it better for like dipping in soup and stuff, I find.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got more corners to work with. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And when you bite in, you don't get it like all over your face. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but we don't judge anyone's cutting style.
No.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'm
true.
sure
Not
there's very,
outwardly.
very good reasons.
Or slicing cheese versus shredding cheese.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah. So many combinations.
Yeah.
All
or
right.
bread choice.
Bread choice. Oh, we could be here for all night.
Oh,
All
we
right.
really
one more
could.
question.
One more for you. All right. So for the last question, we're going to switch it up to a different deck. Are you okay with a little bit of a spicier question? This is coming from a friend of ours who's on the podcast. The deck is called Chat Sparks, and they're a little spicier. You good with that? From Amorous, yes.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
All right. What are your top 3 favorite porn categories?
Ooh. Oh, I am very opinionated about porn. Porn has to be so like feminist and consenty for me to even consider it. But yeah, like I really like a good I know, but this is like so I really like a good gangbang porn though. Like as long as it's consenty and feminist.
Yeah. Both can exist. Both can exist.
Yeah, and I think that probably I would just go with one favorite category probably.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd have to stick with that one. Yeah, and then anything kind of like hot wifey is pretty good for me. Yeah. And it's funny, like sometimes our porn preferences are, they can be representative of I don't know. I'm always reflecting on how sometimes our porn choices can be opposite of our values in some ways, this being the essence of kink.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I am all for feminist consenty porn. There's actually a lot out there, and so you have to dig a little harder to find it, but I'm a huge advocate for femme forward feminist porn.
Totally. I love that. Well, then follow up to that, what are your favorite sources?
Oh, EXO Afterglow is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I need to update my my porn accessibility. I think because I'm so picky about it, it takes me a long time to find stuff. I don't have anyone to plug right now, unfortunately.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. Oh, I have a favorite porn actress though. I'm a huge Lacey Dahl fan.
All right. I'm not familiar.
Anyway, so I'll plug her because she's amazing.
Perfect.
That's amazing.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, and I love the plug for feminist porn. And I would just say, do a little bit of research, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not paying for it, it's most likely not a great bet, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sex work is work.
Yes. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, this has been a blast.
Yes.
Thank you for being a beta tester with us
Thank you
today,
so
Megan.
much.
And
I was just going to thank you. I had so much fun being here. You two are really lovely, and I love what you do. And it was a total honor to be on the podcast. So thank you so much.
yeah, well, thank you for being here.
Before we let you go, is there anything else you wanted to get out there?
Oh, just like be kind to each other, love each other. You know, life is long, so you got to be kind, but life is short. So make sure you do what you need to and want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
And sprinkle your cheese and cut diagonally, and all will be forgiven.
All will be well. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you for being here, Megan. It was a delight to chat.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And until next time.
Until next time.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Megan, for coming on, sharing your story, and for answering the bonus questions at the end as well. We had so much fun talking with you.
Yeah, thank you for helping us sort of try out a new segment. We had a blast. It was fun to chat. It was fun to share a little bit about ourselves as well. So, as Emma said, thank you for coming on, and thank you for all of the incredible work you do. Again, a reminder, you can find links to Megan's coaching work in our podcast show notes over on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Click on the podcast tab, or in your podcast player down below, there's a direct link there.
A couple of quick upcoming dates we wanted to remind all of you about. Our next in-person event is called Relationship Recess, and it's going to be May 1st to 3rd, 2026, outside Orlando, Florida. Tickets are on sale now. We would love to have you come join us. You can find out more over on our website under the events tab.
The other thing you'll see under the events tab will be a link there for our next virtual speed friending. This is coming up January 22nd. These are open to anybody and everybody, just like Relationship Recess. You do not have to be a member of our community to join us. We'd love to have you join us. You can learn more information over there.
And finally, on January 15th, we have a community workshop with Marsha Bazinski, Why You Don't Know What You Want and How to Find Out. To access our monthly workshops, you do need to be a member of our community, which you can join over on the community tab of our website for $8 a month.
And next week, we've got a fantastic interview coming at you. We're talking with Jill.
Yes.
Jill is a member of our community.
Yes.
So if you want to get a taste of what type of badass people hang out in our community all day, Jill's got you covered. We'll see you back here next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.